That's one way to fucking start it right there, buddy. Cut that shit, Matt.
Cut that shit, man.
Hey everybody, welcome to Misplayed Interaction. It's Thomas, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Carmen.
How you doing, everybody? Carmen back again.
Alright, so today we're going to bring you guys... We're going to talk about what we do, what we do with our decks and how it's different than what would say meta. The reason we don't like to go just like go to EDH or like EDH rec and stuff like
or that. You know, the database or EDH top 16 and then just like copy paste, right? Like if we're trying to find a new commander or a new commander pairing that we're interested in, like obviously we use those as resources, right? EDH rec, database, EDH top 16, they're all resources, right? So if I'm trying to find a tournament style deck, I'm going to EDH top 16. If I want to just play a cEDH deck, I'll check out the database. If I'm looking for a casual deck, generally I'm going to EDH top 16. But the resources, right? Like I like to find what people do with the commander, and then go off and like have this shown. It's like, what exactly do I want to do with this commander, right? So we have 100 cards. What do I want to do with it? What things need to be in this archetype, right? So then I'll keep those like 20 things, right, or 30 things, whatever it may be, and then I cut everything else out, and then I start adding in everything that I like, and then I look at the sideboard as a whole of everything I like, everything that this deck used to have. I compare it with other decks. I throw those into this bulk edit sideboard, and then like I'll go up to 120, 130 cards, 140, whatever.
Yeah.
Right, and then trim all the way back down. Right, and that's kind of how me and him build decks. Right, it's like what commander do we want to build? What are other people doing with this commander? What do I want to do with this commander? And how can we make these things work to where we can still have a viable tournament style or a cEDH deck, right?
Yeah. Do we want to go over so today on the episode we're actually going to go on to on Moxfield and look at both mine and Carmen's deck. Right now I have a Malcolm Tana. Malcolm Tana is probably my love at this point. I like it actually a lot more than I like Malcolm Kedis, and I think I've finally found my deck that I love.
Right. So yeah, we were kind of just talking about that. Me and Thomas. Wow, forgot your name. I almost called you Moxfield. So.
Me and Moxfield here. We were talking about it.
Yeah, me and Thomas talk all the time, man. Every day he's like sending me a new partner pairing, a new commander that he wants to build, or a new this or a new that, and he's like, dude, I just can't find my niche. I can't find my deck. I can't find my Malcolm Vial, right, which is my list, right? So he's like, I can't find that deck that I just want to go all in on, that I'm comfortable playing, that I enjoy playing, that's fun for me and still competitive at the same time, right? So, finally I was like, yo, Malcolm Tana just had a top 16, right? If not a top 4, I think. I don't know. Anyway, at least the top 16. Yeah, I don't remember. It just had a top 16. I used to play Malcolm Tana back in the day when Malcolm Tana was pretty good, which was like beginning of 2023. I like Tropical Malcolm is what it was called. Cal from Playing with Power, not with Playing with Power anymore. Cal from Herald's Horn. He used to really represent that deck a lot. He did a lot of work on that deck, a lot of work on that archetype. So it's just like eventually, I mean, Thomas was just like, hey, like I think I want to do this. And I was like, dude, it's a super fun deck. It's a lot of fun. He already plays Malcolm Kedis, right? So it's all about just like.
And I had been pretty high. I had been pretty high on Malcolm Kedis too.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess it's just that other color. I don't know what it is. Like nothing like Malcolm Kedis is super good. Samurai Dancer does
work on it.
Chef's kiss with that deck.
Yeah.
It just wasn't there for me. But adding the green to the already is marvelous.
Adding that third color into a Malcolm deck really like Malcolm Francesco's cool. I like that deck a lot. Malcolm Tavish, I don't know if anyone's ever done that. That could be cool. Malcolm Ishai, I guess in Azorius. Well, whatever. But you know what I mean, right? But adding that third color, yeah, I would. I'm just trying to think of like partner pairings. Malcolm Roger, I don't know.
Malcolm Kodama.
Malcolm Kodama, Saka Malcolm.
Saka Malcolm is blue.
I imagine you'd throw Sakashima in there, right? You're already doing Kodama with that. I don't know. Whatever. Never explored it. Don't care. Yeah. But adding that third color in, like Malcolm Timna, still a relevant deck. I still have that deck. Actually, I think I just ripped it apart because I hated that deck. I just like on paper.
We were talking about that.
Dude, on paper it just looks so good, and then like the play patterns, like actually playing the deck, I was just like, I hate this deck. Like I hate it, and maybe I'm just not like an Esper pilot. I don't like playing Esper. I don't enjoy it. I don't like kind of that. I mean, I have Tevish Ishai, which like if I feel like being that controller, right? Or if I read a certain tournament scene that I think a control deck would do good in, then maybe I'll bring Malcolm Tevish, but it's definitely Tevish Ishai. But it's definitely not my choice, right? But adding that third color into Malcolm allows for all those additional play patterns, like Malcolm Bile. I have all the Black Tutors. I have all the Dark Rituals and Cabal Rituals. If I want to add Nas, or if I want to do Appearance to the stuff, or
why would you even say add Nas?
Masters. No, just stop. Because people still play Nas.
This is true. This is true.
We're the minority in this.
This is for certain.
Yeah, but you get your access to your Bowmasters and your opposition agents and stuff like that, right? In black, and then with green, you get your dorks, you get your tutors, right?
You're into the battlefield tutors, which is
super good.
Hey, here's 5 mana. Right? Here's 5 mana from my Malcolm that I've been making mana with every turn, and then a couple
finale for a fucking Winthorn.
Finale
or finale for a Reckless Fireweaver and pay 1 more for a Trickery Charm. And then play your Mox Amber or whatever. You know what I mean? So like adding that third color just allows for all those additional tutors, all those additional play patterns. You do have to cut some stuff, like so. Both of us, neither one of us are on the Niv Mizzet lines anymore. You're not on Niv.
I'm not on. Right? I'm not on Niv anymore.
Yeah. So, like obviously Malcolm Kedis feels kind of free in that deck, right? You're already in Izzet. You're only in Izzet.
And you're making so much mana.
And you make so much mana. Like casting a turn 3 Niv is not hard in that deck.
No, it's not. It's common. It's a lot more common than you would think.
Yeah. And then, or Magda into a Niv is also very viable, right? You're making
also like a turn
is not hard.
I think I like turn 3 Nezahal so often, dude.
I mean, 7-drop, like you're making, like with Malcolm and Kedis, you're making 3 treasures a turn.
Generally, right? Generally on turn 3, I go into turn 3 with 5 to 7 mana up.
Easily. Right, if you miss a land drop.
Yeah.
So it's like that part of that game plan is nice, right? But adding these, like we're just looking for a little bit more, I don't know, more comfortable play pattern, right? Like
for us.
Yeah.
Because I've come to realize I've come to realize for me personally, because I was on Esper Good stuff. Timna Malcolm for a bit. I did really well with it in testing, but like Carmen said, when you go to practice it
in just an actual game, like
it's just not. It's not a comfortable play style for myself. I think the way the way that we play our Malcolm decks are probably the most comfortable I've been in cEDH since I've played Urza. I will have to say Urza was like my most comfortable deck because I knew that deck inside and out. I knew.
Speaking of which, I think I kind of wanna put Corporal back together.
Do it, man.
I think I might.
But anyways, as I was saying, we kind of went on a rabbit hole there. As I was saying, we're gonna get on Moxfield today.
Start a podcast, dude. If you don't like it, leave.
No, we're gonna get on Moxfield today, and we're gonna cover both of our lists. Like we're gonna go ahead and explain some of the stuff, as we kind of just did. We're gonna explain why we made some of the includes, why we cut some things. Like you'll see a lot of cards in my sideboard still. Carmen has a good amount of cards in his sideboard as well, I do believe.
I'm at 7 in my sideboard.
7, yeah. I think I got 17. Yeah. I just had a meeting. I don't know if you guys should know. Ian, comedian, that dude, fucking wizard, man. He's the best. I don't care what anybody says. This man's the best.
Shout out to Ian. He just won 10 dual lands out in Richmond. He just top forward on a commander that was released the day before the Master Transmuter. He top forward on a Tali a couple weeks ago. I mean, the dude, like, give him a ham sandwich, man. He's at least gonna top 16.
Yeah.
He's a wizard when it comes to deck building. He's an awesome person to talk to if you're looking to get into tournament style or just cEDH, right? If you just want some coaching, or you're looking for, how do I make my deck more optimized? I'm thinking about building this partner pairing, right? What do you think is the best way to build this partner pairing? He's great, right?
And even one thing I will say, even if, because I've actually talked to him about my my Lord Wingrave's deck, and he was like, "There's better commanders," and I was like, "I know," and he was like, "All right, well, we'll see what we could do." So he'll tell you if even if your commander isn't like the most high powered, he is such a knowledgeable like player. He could probably make it to where you can. No, he can make it to where, like, as long as you're like getting better at cEDH, you'll be able to win games. He's like, for sure. This is the last I'm gonna talk about it, but yeah, the dude's amazing. We'll put his link to his Discord in the and his channel.
We'll do
and his channel.
Yep.
In the
we'll do both.
In the comments.
And probably Mind Sculptors too. So
I will probably put Josh as well, because Josh is also a really good
I'll be jumping Highlander.
Yeah, he's also a really good deck builder. He builds janky stuff, kind of like us though, which is closer to home.
Yeah.
Josh is good. But yeah,
so let's jump into it, dude.
Yeah,
bring up this tropical Malcolm.
It's not tropical. All right, let me.
Well, it used to be tropical Malcolm. It's
all right.
Whatever pile of bullshit you have now.
Hey, fuck you. All right, Matt, you're gonna probably. So yeah, what I have got here, I've got Malcolm Tana. With this list, we're going for the pirate tribal deal. I say pirate tribal. It's really not pirate tribal. It's I think I have 3 pingers now. I took one of them out, so I have the Pendragon Strongbull, Reckless Fireweaver, and the Hedron Detonator. For my pingers that I can turn into pirates to deal infinite damage. Then I have, of course, the Glenhorn Buccaneer. I have 8. I have 8 ways to draw cards in this deck. Because as I was playing it in testing, me and Ian had added some things, took some things out, but I ended up putting in. So I have Mixenboo as a card draw engine. I have Consphinx. I added Fairy Mastermind, as well as Toski, which are both like all three of these are really good. Grazilax is in here as well. That's my blue Timna, as Carmen likes to call it. Yeah, I got that card. Carmen is super high on Grazilax, which.
Man, I'm telling you, I like every time I play that card.
It feels
like,
good.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Feels nice.
But it feels great, dude. But everyone's like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Well, that's because it's like a TK. Nobody worries about Timna or Crom until they've drawn 15 cards.
Yeah, and then I go to combat and I make 3 treasures and draw 3 cards, and everyone's like, "Oh shit, we gotta kill that Grazilax." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, y'all fucked up. Like this card's correct."
I've also got cEDH for card draw. What else? Got the Veil of Summer. It can draw me cards, but that's not the main
card. Yeah.
Yeah, a card.
The one
and then I have the One Ring,
Mystic
and Sylvan Library, Mystic, and Ristic. So
I really like Sylvan in this archetype. A lot of Kinnan decks are starting to go towards Sylvan.
So
I think the card's great, right? Like we're not using our life as a resource. Like we're on cEDH Restoration. We don't care about bolting ourselves. The only time it becomes a real issue is if you're like in my game last night. Like I don't use my life as a resource either. We'll get to that. Well, kind of. I run Necro, and I ran up against a Najila that just punched me out of the game. But Sylvan Library I think it's a great card. I really do. I don't think enough people play it. I feel like Greens kind of has this bad stigma. People that are in green are generally also in black, and then generally, well, except for like Dark Thras, but are also generally like using their life as a resource. And so they opt not to play Sylvan, right? I think Sylvan Library.
Sylvan's such a good card in this deck, especially because I have so many cracklands that I could just if I don't like the top 3, I'll just take the crackland, I'll crack it, and then next time I don't have to worry about grabbing one of those bad cards that I just shuffled away.
Without having to pay 8 life to get rid of them off the top of your library. Right?
As I was looking today, I have like 4 different iterations of getting Tinderwall, Rite of Flame, Glinthorn to be able to win on turn 1.
Being able to, like through JLo, right? Like
I've got to have so every iteration I've got to have at least 1 land and JLo in hand always.
And a 0 or 1 drop.
And a 0 or 1 drop. No, I don't have to have a 0 drop with the Glinthorn combo. Yes, I do.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. Yeah, but I mean, still, like
turn 1 win with a cracked hand. This deck is able to turn 1 win because of like things like Rite of Flame and Tinderwall, right? You have 2 different ways. So like Rite of Flame, Tinderwall are kind of like, I mean, depending on the rest of your hand, but those are like good cards to have in a starting hand, right? When we talk about what cards to keep, what kind of hands to mulligan and stuff like that. But yeah.
So let's run down. Let's look at that. Let's run down and see about some test hands.
Well, hang on. There's a couple things that I want to talk about a little bit more. Things like Neoform on your deck.
So
things like Neoform and Eldritch Evolution. Neoforming
my Vexen or my Dockside.
Or even Magda at that point, right?
Yeah, Magda, a Flesh Duplicate. Any of my 2 drops.
Yeah.
Any of my 2 drops.
And also, even being it, like, if you only have one of these 1 drops, like, just Neoforming into a Dockside also can't hurt, right?
It's always good to have mana.
Yeah, we don't have a 5 in the deck to Neoform into a Consphinx, but that's why we have Eldritch, right? So, like, Eldritch, a Toski into a Consphinx, I'll take that trade all day. Or
I mean, I can also
say we're stuck. Tana, right? Like I have to cast Tana, and then I Eldritch my Tana into a Consphinx. Doesn't feel bad. But or you could always you could always just Eldritch into Glinthorn. Doesn't matter what you're doing, right? Every single one of the creatures in this deck can Eldritch for a Glinthorn. So, which is besides Boo, right? When we make Boo Minsk.
Or the saplings
but every
tip Tana make,
which but every other creature, yeah, and so it's funny. All right, so I'm glad that you just brought that up. So a lot of people move away from these cards, right? Move away from these decks because we don't cast our other commander, right? So we're playing Malcolm, and then these other commanders for the colors, literally. I think I've casted Vial Smasher twice in the last 6 months, 7 months.
And I think I was in the game with you on one of those.
Yeah. And that's how you know things are going bad. Like, we're in a slog, I have nothing else to do. Like, I cast a Vial Smasher because I have a One Ring in my hand and I'm trying to deal 4 damage to somebody. Or I have a Force of Will that's going to be coming up on someone else's turn that I want to deal 5 damage to somebody.
Yeah.
Right? It's not great, right? It's a feel bad. But yeah, so a lot of people, a lot of people do. Right, a lot of people do say that to me. Like, I just don't like playing a partner pairing where both partners are, and I get that, right? Like, it's the same thing. Like, people go to Will and Max over Tim and Natana, right? Like, hey, we're still doing the Bloodbot thing with Will and Max, except both of my commanders actually have value in my deck.
Yeah,
right?
do stuff.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on the Neoform Eldritch stuff. Obviously, Court of Calling.
Man, I would love to talk about Minx and Boo, actually, now that we're talking about stuff. I say now that we're talking about stuff, dude. Minx and Boo
been talking about the deck the whole time.
Is such... Thank you, sir. Minx and Boo is such a, it's such a holder, man. Like,
yeah.
This card is so good. One, being able to smack somebody with a 3/3 is awesome. Because normally I can get Minx and Boo out pretty quick. But being able to sack them and get 3 cards is marvelous. And then at upkeep, you make another 3/3.
Yeah, if you guys are in kind of a Gruul pile, test out Minsk and Boo, see how he works in your deck, because being able to draw 3 extra cards every other turn,
Gruul is marvelous.
And on the opposite turn, hitting somebody for 3, feels pretty good. It really does. And then one other thing I want to talk about is I just want to talk about the pieces that turn our things into pirates. So artificial evolution, trickery charm.
We run artificial evolution. We run blades of Velis Veil. We run trickery charm, and then we run arcane adaptation
and
the enchantments. We run arcane adaptation, and then we run Maskwood as an artifact. Most expensive is Maskwood, but it's so good. Being able to tap 3 late game, if we do this deck isn't meant to make it. Honestly, it can be. I have enough interaction in the deck that it can go to mid game to mid range. I can deal with problems and still try to push my wins. I have enough pingers that even if I just have a pinger out and I don't have anything to do with it, I can put pressure on people's life totals. Most of my pingers have upsides as well. Being able to sack stuff for the strong will, sack stuff, make it bigger, smack somebody for big, as well as ping them. The Reckless Fireweaver, every time a artifact enters the battlefield, I deal a damage. The same thing for the Hedron. And then with the Hedron, I can sacrifice 2 things, exile the top card. It's kind of like it's a bad PFB. Really? Because I gotta sack 2 artifacts.
Yeah. It's a bad PFB. PFB is a powerhouse in these types of decks.
It absolutely is.
Making an additional treasure. We can talk about it when I get to my deck, but yeah. So he's on and Maskwood notably being able to be tutored by Magda is always great.
Phenomenal. Yeah. That's the main reason Magda's in the deck, is being able to, because I don't have any other tutors for Magda besides Maskwood and the One Ring, really. Just the One Ring is in desperate times when I feel like it's going to be a slog of a game, and I want to make sure that I get my card draw engine going.
Or you have a Sylvan Library out and there's a Najila trying to swing lethal at you. You just Magda for this One Ring.
No, because the One Ring has to be cast.
Yep, you're right. Because I can do it with Beseech, but you can't do it with Magda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Next, we'll go to yours, and I'll let you do all the talking. Let's. Yeah. All right, so we got it pulled up here. We got the Malcolm Vial Smasher.
Yeah, so this is a deck that I have been working on since October. If you guys saw the last video, you heard me mention that. I've been slowly grinding on this deck a lot. The name of this deck, up there under the description or whatever, it says Nautilus Breachless Pirate Tribal, right?
Yep.
And that's what it is, right? I run Ragavan, Storm Tamer, Dockside, Malcolm, Glinthorn. Those are all the pirates, right? And then we have things like Reckless Fireweaver, Orc Spellmaster. Spellskite is huge in this deck. It helps protect my Malcolm or my Glinthorn or whatever it may be, because if I have Spellskite and Storm Tamer out, like,
you win.
People start to get real worried, right? Just being able to protect Malcolm, be able to protect Glinthorn or Reckless Fireweaver if it comes out, it's so good.
I'd like to say, I'd like to interrupt you and tell you that I really appreciate that you put Braids back in here.
I was just getting ready to talk about that.
It's such a good card, dude.
Yeah. So I recently put Braids back in, because there's a couple games, like, Braids isn't always relevant, right? But there's a couple games where I'm not getting card draw, right? I've had my Ristic Study blown up, or my Grazoax killed, or, whatever, right? Or I kept a hand that thought was gonna do something and it got countered, or I ditched my Ristic Study off my gamble, right? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is. Where Braids comes in, I just have a ton of treasures with 2 cards in hand of cards that I can't cast, and just being able to sack a treasure every turn. And people aren't willing to give up their mana crypts. They're not willing to give up their soul ranks, their talismans, stuff like that. And so they just lose 2 life, and I draw 3 cards. That card has drawn me a lot of cards. Like, between Braids and Grazoax, I've drawn more cards off those 2 cards than I have a Ristic Study, right? Because yes, you can not sack an artifact for Braids and I don't draw a card. Cool. You can try to block all my flyers and I don't draw cards off Grazoax, right? But it's so powerful. It really is.
Yeah, it's such a good card.
Yeah.
Let's go into your sorceries.
Well, hang on. Reckless Fireweaver, Hedron Detonator. Those are the Mayhem Devil. Those are my pingers, right? Those are the things that I like to turn into pirates, to deal my damage.
You're also only on 3.
Consecrated Sphinx, Hallbreaker Horror, Professional Facebreaker, cool line with PFB and Mayhem Devil. We were in a game and there was a Blind Obedience out, and I turned Mayhem Devil into a pirate with Professional Facebreaker on the field, sacked one of my floating treasures, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna start the loop here, and everyone's like, whoa, you can't, there's a Blind Obedience, but I can sack them to PFB through PFB's ability. professional face breakers ability. So I was just able to get through, like, killed the blind obedience player first, and then just proceeded to ping the rest of the table. Super clean win line, super fun. Requires 3 cards plus turning Mayhem Devil into a pirate, but that was a slog, and we were able to get there, man. This deck is super resilient. Running things like Consecrated Sphinx and Hullbreaker Horde just helps us get there. So yeah, we can run into sorceries real quick. Obviously Gamble's a great card. Imperial Seal, not super high on, but we do have a lot of ways to draw cards, right? I actually wasn't playing Imperial Seal for a little bit and really missed it a lot. So
explain the Grim Tutor to us.
Yeah, so Grim Tutor's great. Like, we make so many treasures in this deck. Like, Grim Tutor doesn't hurt. Grim Tutor rarely feels bad, right? You see that we're on 1 in a double black. We're on Beseech Mirror, 1 in a triple black. I'm on Dark Writ, so I'm not on Cabal Writ, but I'm on Dark Writ, so it's not super hard to make black. Plus, we make a ton of treasures, and I don't care about losing 3 life. Right, yeah. A lot of people opt not to play Grim Tutor because it's 3 off of Naz and it's 3 life after resolution, right? I don't care, I'm Nazless, right? Diabolic Intent. Diabolic Intent sometimes feels bad in my hand. I don't always have something that I want to sack my Diabolic Intent to. Like, normally it's like a Dockside or an Orc Army or some other, like an Imperial Recruiter, Goblin Matron. Like, once they kind of did their job, right, I can get rid of it. You know, it's relevant. It doesn't always feel great in the hand. I don't have a lot of things to sack to it, but it does. If it wins me the game, I don't care about sacking some other pirate that's gonna make me treasures, maybe. But Sichimir is a fantastic card. Super hard to cast sometimes, but being able to Beseech into a Arcane Adaptation, a Maskwood Nexus, a Glinthorn Buccaneer, literally any of my combo pieces, and just sacking a treasure to it. So it costs 5 mana essentially, right? If I sack a treasure to it, it's better if I sack a Orc Army to it. But the Sichimir is a fantastic card. It's won me quite a few games. Obviously Draenith is a thing, so feels bad if you have to pay 4 just to put something in your hand, but you avoid that bargain cost if you have to, so it is what it is, and then you can just recast it. Like, we make a ton of mana, who cares? Instance, so
running a little lower than last time. Did you cut some?
No, I don't think so.
24.
No, I've kind of been on this thing. No, it's much more like, I'm actually thinking about cutting Force and Negation out, and putting maybe like a delay or something like that in, and just leaning more towards a proactive interaction suite as opposed to a reactive interaction suite.
Yeah, because I can see that.
Having to Force of Negation and pitching one of my own protection pieces,
or like a wings, like a wings or a trickery charm.
Yeah, like
that feels bad.
Having to pitch something like that feels bad, right? And like, I'd rather pitch that and not lose the game, but at that point, if I lose one of those cards, if I lose one of those combo pieces, there's 100 freaking cards in this deck, right? Like, what are the chances of me drawing another one? I'm probably out of the game anyway. So, yeah, really thinking hard about cutting Force and Neg. Bit me in the ass yesterday. I forgot how the card worked and tried to protect my win, and everyone's like, dude, it's your turn. I was like, So, officially hate the card.
Officially hate. I misplayed it, so I hate it.
Yeah. Spell Snare was an all-star for me one game. I was doing my Glinthorn, or I casted Glinthorn. I was getting ready to go through the combo, and I think he was on the Ob Nexus player, casted a OBM, and I hit it with a Spell Snare.
Oh, dude, feels great.
Yeah. like everyone always talks about Thassa and Dockside and
Underworld
Breach,
Breach, dude. All of the best,
yeah,
all the best win lines get stopped by
yeah,
Spellsnare.
and so does OBM, which is amazing.
So does a Dockside, Final Fortune.
So you see, you see the Final Fortune Born Upon the Wind there.
Yeah.
I am on Necro, so I'm on Necro. Necro is a great card. I really like the card a lot. I generally use it to refill. And I actually had a line yesterday, but died to a Najila. There was so much card draw and everything going on. Like, the next turn after Najila killed me on their turn, and then like I didn't have enough interaction in my hand to fight against three other. It was a Najila, Tiki on Teferi, and then Azur on Kinnan, and Najila ended up going for the win, and Najila had like 6 counter spells in their hand because they hit me. They Sam it for 7.
Yikes!
And then they had like 6 or 7 counter spells, and Tiki and Azur, like, I mean, they blew all their interaction in that turn. Like, what you have to. So we're at like an hour and like 25 minutes, and then Tiki just like is able to. He has a Urza on the field and a Forensic Catch, and he's able to fabricate into a Basalt Monolith, and then just exile his entire library, win the game with Urza. Yeah, it was pretty great. And then just played Jason one. So
that feels bad.
yeah, it was it wasn't cool. So artifacts, 17 artifacts. Obviously all our 0 drops for the most part, right? Like Mox Opal is for the most part online all the time. When your commander can make treasures and you're on 17 artifacts, with 4 of them or 2 of them being 4 drops is kind of tough, and then 1 of them being a defense grid is kind of tough, right? Like, we don't always just want to cast a defense grid, so our Mox Opal's online, and just let the next player win.
Yeah.
So, but most of the time, this Mox Opal, Mox Amber, are really good for like the Reckless Fire Weaver and Hedron Detonator.
Yeah, those are good lines.
Triggers, right? So just casting one of them and then turning it into a pirate in response to the damage trigger. Same with Maskwood. So cool line is if you have either one of those cards on the field and you play the Maskwood, the Fireweaver triggers after the Maskwood resolves, right? So the Fireweaver becomes a pirate, and then it sees the Maskwood enter, and then the damage trigger goes off, which is kind of nice. So that's a cool line. But yeah, we're on all 3 talismans plus Arcane Signet. It doesn't feel bad. It hasn't felt bad yet, so I'll let you know if I change my mind on those. If you look down at the enchantments, you'll notably see, obviously, 4. No Underworld Breach.
Only 4.
Right? You see the 4. Obviously the 2 broken blue ones, Necro, which we already talked about, and then Arcane Adaptation, which just turns things into pirates for us. But yeah, so no Underworld Breach. Me and Thomas were kind of talking about it, and it's like I'd rather just only have more layered combos of what I'm already trying to do than to throw in this Underworld Breach combo that everyone prepares for anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like Tivit is still super relevant until Tivit still plays Grafdigger's Cage. There's a lot of decks that are playing Grafdigger's Cage to slow Kinnons down and slow Underworld Breach combos down, right? So yeah. I just don't play it. Like, why play around it, or why try to play around it, and then, or just like I just don't play it, and then I just add more win cons into my deck. 25 lands. That's kind of the purpose of having all 3 talismans in there. Oh, excuse me, I have a tickle in my throat.
There's a tickle in my throat.
I was originally only on the Talisman of Creativity because that is the obviously the two most relevant colors in my deck. Talisman of Indulgence was the last one I added, but being able to just have all three and running things like Ancient Tomb. I did cut City of Traders. City of Traders felt bad most of the time. But yeah, just being able to Rite of Flame, land Rite of Flame into a Talisman, or Mana Crypt into a Talisman, or Ancient Tomb into a Talisman still gets us a turn 2 Malcolm or turn 2 Ristic Study or something, X3 spell here, right?
Yeah.
I did just throw Cavern back in. There's an interesting line with Cavern and the Wings and Blades of Velasvel, right? So they are shapeshifter, or they're tribal instance, shapeshifter. So I can put Pirate on this Cavern. No, I'm not on Blades. I'm only on Wings, and you're on Blades and not Wings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can put this Cavern on Pirate, and you can actually cast this instant, yeah, the Wings or the Blades for uncounterably.
Uncounterable instant.
Yeah, because
then all you have to worry about is removal.
Yep. Same thing with the Goblin Matron, right? We talked a little bit. You guys are probably wondering why we're both from the just because it's one of the best combos in the game and I'm in the colors doesn't mean I have to play it, right? If you guys ever seen Comedian's Dawn Waker list, right? He's not on Underworld Breach. He's in 4 colors. You can easily run your Intuition lines with Sabine's, and that dude's not on Underworld Breach, right? In that deck, right? Obviously, I think in Tevish Crom, he's still on Underworld Breach. It's a fantastic combo, but if it's not what you're trying to do, if it's not the main focus of your game plan, then why run it? And I'm not trying to tell everyone like, hey, you shouldn't run Underworld Breach anymore, because it is a super clean combo, right? Underworld Breach, gamble, you win the game for the most part, as long as you have 6 cards in your library, or 6 cards in your graveyard and like 4 cards in your hand. Like, you're getting there, okay? Like you'll be fine. Super clean combo, super easy to run through. and I'm not telling you guys not to run it, but I would just take a hard look at your deck and see if these are the 3 cards that you want to be running. So I took all 3 of these cards out and I put Braids back in. I added Defense Grid. Each combo, I threw in Defense Grid, Braids, and Cavern Souls. Which, I mean, Cavern Souls makes my stuff uncounterable, and Defense Grid basically makes them uncounterable, and then Braids just more card draw. So that's kind of my deck, man. This is my baby. Like I said, I've been working on it since October. I have a ton of games logged on it. Super resilient deck, can win fast, and
I hate it.
Or can win slow. Super fun. I love this deck. I encourage you guys to give it a try. One of the things that me and Thomas talked about before, when he was building the Marnius deck, we talked about it. I think we talked about it last podcast. Do what works with your commander. If you want a Grixis shell, go build Tevish Crown, right? Go build 2 card draw engines that are going to allow you to breach or Naws or do whatever you want to do. Go build Timnacron, 2 card draw engines that are going to allow you to do whatever you want to do. In this Grixis shell, you want to go fast, go build Rockside. If you want to do something a little bit off the wall, kind of what caters to your commander, it's fun for me, man. It's a lot. This deck is a ton of fun.
Caters to one of our commanders. We'll say that because we were just talking about earlier how the whole deck isn't based around the second commander. That's just for the colors. Yeah, these are 2 Malcolm decks, just with special colors.
Yeah. Literally, the only reason I built this deck was because I bought the secret layer
for the Vial Smasher.
Strictly for the Tevesh, right? I just bought the whole secret layer because I was like, Jessica's cool, Godo's cool, Tevesh is sick. I might as well just get the whole thing. That way I don't have to buy 3 separates, right?
Yeah.
And then I got the Vial Smasher, and I was like, dude, I wonder if I should build a Vial Smasher deck. And so I built Malcolm Vial, and initially built it this Turbo Nas fucking just Grixis shell, and I was like, dude, I hate this, right? Like, I hate this deck. Yeah. And then started innovating, right? We talked about last week. We talked about innovating. How do we attack the meta in a different way through innovation, right? So innovating within your own deck, taking a hard look at your deck, and actually saying, like, obviously Thassa DC's in here, right? Like, I'm not gonna take that out.
It's the best win con in the game. Like,
I mean, I'm never gonna take that out, but Thassa DC can't be stopped by a Grafdigger's Cage.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's I don't know, man. Take a hard look at your deck. Figure out what direction you want to go in. Figure out if the combos that you have in your deck are just because you're in the colors or because they work well with your deck, right? I'm not telling you to take Breach out. Breach is a fantastic combo. If you like running Breach, run Breach, dude. It works. It works really well. I still lose to Breach all the time. Like, man, I should put Breach back in. But I fucking hate it.
I hate playing it. It's
I'm literally looking at like mine and Thomas's Discord chat here, and it's like I cut Breach, added Grafdigger's Cavern, and Defense Grid. That's what I added. But then I took Grafdiggers out for Braids because I want to play Braids. And he goes Spice. I was like, fuck Breach.
Fuck Breach.
I'm not saying fuck Breach. Breach.
He is. Don't let him lie.
This deck does not work that well with Breach, right?
Yeah.
It's not what I'm trying to do in this deck. It's really not. But yeah, it's pretty much all I got on my Grixis Kaizoku. If you guys don't know what Kaizoku is, go watch One Piece. It means pirate in Japanese.
Just so you
know. Yeah, man, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed Deck Tech. Go. I don't know. We'll put the links to our Moxfield's down here. Put a link to the decks that we talked about.
Yeah.
Go check them out, man. Let me know. Hit a like.
Hit like, follow.
Check out. Yeah.
Leave some comments.
Check out the rest of our decks. Yeah. If you see a couple other decks that you like my Blood Pod, I just put my Blood Pod back together. I'm enjoying playing that. I just put Najila back together. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you guys would like to see us struggle to do a live brew or something like that, let us know, and we'll give it our best go. We'll at least give you guys something to laugh about.
Yeah, I'll probably if once we decide on the deck, I'll probably pregame it a little bit, because otherwise we're gonna wind up with like 200 cards in this Moxfield. But I will pregame and figure out a direction that I want it to go, and then definitely live brew it though. Like, it'll be fun that way.
Yeah, no, we'll have a good time. Yeah, if you guys,
as always, yeah, go ahead, you got it, bro.
I fucked that up. Matt's gonna have to cut that. You go ahead.
Give it a pause. Give it a pause.
What is it that we say? Fuck.
Wait, I got it, dude.
Oh, okay, you got it. Give it a pause. You got it.
All right, guys. So as always, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see next time. Let us know if you guys think what we're doing is cool. I'd love to hear what you guys think about the decks. And yeah, remember, feed the fish. Don't feed the fish. Feed the algorithms, right? We're trying to get our names out there, man. We're trying to bring you guys more videos. We want to be pushing these out once a week. We're gonna start throwing some gameplay videos out here, man. So tell your friends, give us a like, man.
Take it easy.